Hey guys, Moss here. Hope you are doing well. Um, just making sure that we are on. Go ahead and get comfortable. Just making sure that we're on. We're on live. Yeah, here we go. So that's fantastic. Perfect. We're trying a new software called Restream. Really fantastic. Merging everything. So right now, what we've got going is Facebook and Facebook and YouTube on one channel. So just trying that out. So if it's a little glitchy, guys, just bear with me. Okay. The important thing is good on YouTube. Oh, thanks, guys. So yeah, if you can tell me if it's good on YouTube. I'm seeing Facebook as well. So really fantastic software, guys. If you guys stream, to multiple channels, it's called Restream. Really fantastic. It doesn't work well on Instagram yet because of Instagram isn't set up for it. So I have another camera coming up on Instagram because I can't see your chats, but on YouTube, this is really cool software. So fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for the feedback. So we'll get started. Again, Moss on Sundays. What is that? Moss on Sundays is that, well, we go into the deep science on how stuff really is, how this reality works. What if I told you that, well, whatever you know about this reality is all wrong? It is. It's absolutely all wrong the way we see it. And the deep science is that it tells you or it shows you how it really is. Okay, at the deep science or what I call XI level, exponential intelligence level, there is no exceptions to the rule. For example, like say emotions or being good or being bad or anything like that. There's always exceptions. Say being bad. Right. For example, if you steal, well, there's many situations that say stealing is bad, and then there's many that stealing would be okay. So where does this line end? So we're going to be talking about that coming up. Right now, the first half is about really reading you or analyzing you. Again, if I read you and I tell you or I analyze you and you have some medical issues, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I'm not a health professional, financial analyst, anything like that. I'm just telling you what I see. Okay? It might be all bullshit, although I have a very high accuracy, but you still want to check it out for sure. Okay. In fact, there's a few doctors, quite a few actually, that come to me and figure out. It's like, hey, I can't figure this patient out. Can you help me out? So, and then it works out. So we'll go through this. This is the cool thing too, is I can show this on you. So spinal fluid, I can show this on the screen. So that's a cool feature on this as well. Spinal fluid leak for last 9 months. Please scan me. Yes. So it seems like you had, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you, you had some kind of virus or something. And now that there's it's like a hole or like say a scab that doesn't heal. So why doesn't it heal? Because you're the type of person that doesn't heal as fast for some reason. So let's help you with that. Just take a deep breath in. And again, we'll see how it works. Okay. Usually people clear themselves of strange diseases and so on like that once they start to realize at a deeper level. Also, you're always creating an excuse or a situation for you that you can't be your best possible self. So that's an underlying frequency, right? If you can't be your best possible self, well, you'll create, and especially if you've done, say, XI, the excuses that you say block yourself, well, they're not excuses anymore. You can't use them anymore. So sometimes this happens where people start to create, say, a big excuse not to go forward. In this reality, and again, it's not just XI, in this reality, consciousness is coming through. It's forcing people to wake up, whether they're ready or not. It doesn't matter, guys. You woke up, okay? Says YouTube's not working. Should work. I'm getting... So again, in this situation, really say releasing you from, and then forcing you to see things as they are, so you can actually say understand what it is about, and then solve your problems, and giving you, say, all the tools to solve your problems once and for all, rather than say running away or stopping you. Okay. This one is, hi Moss, can you help me please to scan me for relationships, please? Sure. This is Angelina. So Angelina, how can you be in a relationship if you're always trying to please somebody? So, and that's what happens. Initially, everybody in relationships, and we have relationship talks on this. Everybody in relationships, what they do is, like, when they first connect, they're attracted usually physically, or maybe intellectually. There's people who are attracted intellectually. And what happens is that you get that attraction, and then what do? Right? You put your best possible foot forward. But for you, Angelina, what you do is that you have really nice abilities to read people and sense people, and then you adapt to their needs. So you literally turn into the person that they want, which is okay. Like maybe in sales and so on like that. But even that, it's very distorting, or maybe an actor. But even that's very distorting for you, because over time, you lose yourself, and that's where that separation happens, right? You're wanting to go this way, your life wanting to go this way, and then, the person's taking you this way, so it's not necessarily the person. In fact, most of all of your issues, guys, it's literally, yes, it is the other person, but what's in it in you that's resonating, that's allowing that reality to happen for you. So for you, disconnecting and helping you understand who you are. Okay. Now there's benefits, like I said, to your abilities, or your gift that you might think it's cursed. It's not. All of you, if you have gifts and you think you're cursed because of it, it's not because you're cursed. It's just that you're using it wrong. It's a great tool. For you, you can actually say sense people and go, and you have to break it down. It's like, what attribute in them is really beneficial for me to understand. And then once you understand that, you can say, pull that thread of the frequency in you. And then once you do that, that's where you start to become yourself. I'm saying this because you can analyze people that you don't even know. Like, you could read documentaries or whatever, and you go, okay, this is the reason why they became successful. But the key is that you don't want to grab the whole person, and you don't want to shift your identity to match theirs. Okay? What you want to do is grab pieces of things that you admire in those people, so you become your personality. And then once you have a solid personality, you can identify with that person, but not transform into that person. And it helps them identify, because what they're doing is they're doing actually the same thing that you're doing. And that's how all relationships work. That's why most relationships break apart, or they suck after a while. So we'll continue on. We'll go to Instagram. This is Ami. Hi, Moss. Can you please scan my mom? She has a lot of health issues. Major ones is insomnia, and she has headaches, back and stomach pain, and pins and needles in the legs. Yeah. So. So she's always in her head. That's even before I read you, I saw you. She needs a lot of help. She almost feels, and again, it's not my words, but it's just a way of helping you understand or analyze. What I'm saying is, she's like possessed. Your your family, again, sins of the father, so to speak. Whatever is happening for them is happening for you, or you inherited that. So being possessed, what does that mean to you? Your mom over time, again, kind of mentally unstable or goes mentally unstable. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just analyzing. People who run those patterns usually run that way as they age. So basically what that means is that over time, what happens is that, well, you know, when you see old people and they're just like sitting there and they're just void, well, that's that mental instability that I talk about, because whatever controls you, or that possession, just literally pulls you out, and they harass her. They've been harassing her all her life. For you, you kind of run similar patterns, but from whatever that you've done, it's outside of you, and you're, yeah. So by harassment, I mean that, you know how like there's multiple thoughts that run in your head, you know, 3, 4 thoughts at the same time. They're not just thoughts. They're not just random patterns. They're not like, well, why can't I get these voices out of my head? Because they're actual voices from another presence. Or, for example, if you have like an abusive relationship, right? And that person is screaming at you, like your mom was probably, yeah, kind of abused. So helping. So now that screaming voice is always in her head, and she can't let go of it. She can't let go of that, say, time frame where she was abused. You know, it's been pounded into her. So that essence of that person, again, has dominated her. And even when that person is not there, she still renders, you know, she still renders or creates that inner. Again, it's not in her head though. It's just another frequency that's in her head. Also, it's like she's had physical issues or shaking when I see that part of it, which is really sad. So, which causes nerve damage, so to speak, from what I'm seeing. Yeah. So let's help her out with that. So what'll happen for your mom, and this is why I really don't want to work on individuals unless people ask me, because you'd be responsible for bringing her into the 18-day metamorphosis or meta-healings that we do. So if you want to bring people into that, guys, all you have to do is, you know, when you're doing the 18 days, just imagine them meditating, not necessarily, not with you. So don't imagine them meditating next to you, because it distorts your frequencies, okay? Just imagine them meditating somewhere else outside of your, you know, perimeter, let's say. Further the better. And then forget about them, okay? Or you can say, hey, I just want to bring my mom or whoever into the 18 days. I wouldn't do it on the accelerated. That's just for you, okay? So that's what's happening. So again, helping you, one, remove those voices in your head. So you're not crazy, or your family's not crazy. Again, there's just things take over you, okay? So removing that, and for you, again, you'll see voices instead of like in. So for you, just one last thing, it was in your head. Now it's outside of your head. Does that make sense to you? The next phase for you will be, it's like out here, and you then, when that happens, and you'll see it in your mom as well, as the voices say, disconnect from her, okay, and it's around her space. But you'll experience like. And then if it's out here, you look around, it's like, oh, that's the voice of so and so, you know, probably a relationship that you try to get rid of, and it's still connected with you. And then you get to see how that say presence still controls you, right? So again, really nice job. But this is where you see the voice and you go, oh shit, that's where that comes from. Okay. And some of them are not from this realm, by the way. And you go, okay, do I want to befriend them or, you know, disconnect from them? So that's your choice. Always say no. No, thank you. Okay. This one, Aldano. This is so cool, guys. I love that way. Even if I can't read them, because I don't need to read your questions, I can still scan you. It says, hi, Moss. I really need your help with my 10-year-old daughter. Please, can you scan her and help, please? Sure. So, So, Aldana, there's a lot of, say, religion or culture in your family. So, that's the issue. Um, so, let's see. Yeah, so there's a lot of religion basis in your family, and again, I'm not knocking religion if you do it right, but most people don't know how to do it right. In your family, there's a lot of that religion has turned dark, or it's a control mechanism, right? If you do X, you're going to go to hell. If you do Y, you're going to go to heaven. It's in there so deep that it turns dark because, well, you freeze. So your 10-year-old daughter. She's kind of like got stuck on this, say, razor sharp edge, and she doesn't know which way to go. Okay, back and forth, and she always feels like that, by the way. So she's always, if you want to call it, pins and needles, but I just see her. She's on a razor's edge, and she just doesn't want to fall off. So where is she falling off to? Right. Well, a, a different reality. This reality does not feel stable because, again, she's just like on a ledge. Or a wall, right? A very thin wall. Think of it that way. And then, so I call it a razor's edge, by the way, because she's afraid of falling off, but it pains her, right? Because it's sharp to stay in this reality. So that's what's going on. So the reason for that, and the reason why I bring these religions. So let's put the pieces together. The religion. If there's a grandmother or your mother or I don't know, could like a female frequency. So it could be, say, your but again, female frequency. So if your grandfather was feminine, I would see him as a female frequency. So they pray for her, or they love her, even if she's dead, or somebody might have died when she was really young. They didn't cross over very well. So let's just disconnect that for sure. So yeah, there was a death. So, and again, Aldana, comment back, not for me. I know what I'm reading is accurate. I've done this hundreds of thousands, or I don't know, millions of times for people, but for other people, especially if you're new, on how accurate. Again, it's not to prove my accuracy. I know I'm accurate, but those people whose abilities are up and coming, and then those people who are just like testing the waters, like, is there like a different environment? And just know that I'm just working on your daughter. They get to see that there's just a different law, say, that dictates how this reality works. Okay. But for those people whose abilities are up and coming, you embrace yourself more. Is right. It's like, oh shit, that is real. Because boss sees it, then I can, get comfortable in that space as well. So that's why. So again, with you, with your daughter, say that dark religion is embraced, and this is where people go, oh honey, let me pray for you, but it's a dark religion, and then you're open, and it just feels so loving, especially when it comes from a loving family or a loving person, in the church or whatever. It's like, let me pray for you. Basically what they're saying is like, hey, let me feed on you. Okay. And they might have fantastic intentions. It doesn't matter what this level intention is. It's the underlying intention. And that's where a lot of, say, politicians and so on, it's like they have the best intention, right? It's like, well, it's good for you, right? I'm doing this for you. Have you ever heard, right? I'm doing this for your own good, right? And they're beating the hell out of, the kids and stuff. Well, they're doing it because, again, the religion dictates that, they should beat, the hell out of them so they purify themselves. So that's the kind of dark religion that I'm talking about. But it's just so. But in this case, it's undercover because it's through, say, a thick love frequency, right? Have you ever gone to little kids, your little kid, and you go, let's go to grandma's house, and it's that thick, dark, religious frequency, and the kid is just totally scared. It's like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to hug grandma, grandpa. Well, the kids know. So basically that's what's happening. So what I was doing for you, and just taking a little bit more time, I guess I have a soft space for kids, just separating her identity, and then helping her, say, turn those abilities of, say, absorbing people's garbage. She might not like a lot of people. She might not like you or anybody else. It's a good sign, because she's not liking you. She's basically pushing your frequencies that you're pushing into her, because you're kind of like that too. But now you're awakening to that from whatever that we've done together. You're awakening. Oh, I'm seeing that. I'm pouring myself into that kid. Okay. As a note, I'm here in College Town, guys. I'm not going to say, because there's a crazy woman that stalks me and stuff like that. So if you're new, guys, if you see stuff about me that I don't know, I molest or what, I rape, I don't know, 500 people, and I think she might be on here. Maybe that's what I'm talking about. Obviously, that's not true. You could see that in my face and demeanor. But if you look at her, she looks really creepy. So anyway, if you guys research or go, Sajady, and this shit comes up, it's, well, that I'm very successful, because you get to a certain level of success, and then you get stalkers no matter who you are. So anyway, that's that. Anyway, College Town, here in College Town, and I read people. We were at a nice restaurant, and all these young kids were walking by. They're young kids on the inside, but they're wearing their parents' identities on the inside. So they're like their parents at just a younger age. No wonder why they feel fucked up, and they can't get away from it. And they're trying to be like who they want to be like, or who their friends want to be like. But again, it's not going to help. They really need to disconnect. Otherwise, just like you, remember, guys, when you were in college, I'm sure I was like that too, right? You're in college, you're trying to be that person that you want to be like, but shit, what's holding you back? Well, that's the difference, right? You know what you want to be. It's pushing out of you, but your parents' frequencies and so on. It's just hereditary pattern, by the way. So be mindful of that. All right. Let's go to Instagram this time. Ella Coors. Hey, Moss, how can I break free of anything that prevents me from being my best self? I am fully committed to be. Can you scan me? Yeah, so seems like you're kind of new to XI, so congratulations. But, the short time that you've been here, it's like, holy shit, it's the first time I've ever been free. This is what I've been looking for, because all your life, from, I want to say 10, 11, 12, around 12, I don't know, divorce, yeah. So it could be a separation or a divorce, something like that, maybe like a divorce, but a disconnect, where it kind of rocked your world. And then it's not that you were, and this is what happens to a lot of kids, which is unfortunate. Say that there's a divorce or something, something happens in the family. The kid is really strong. But like just the last, the last person, what happens is that the parents start to latch on to the kid, and it's like the kid gets destabilized, because for you, Ali, or I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, but for you, you're really strong from what I'm seeing. But you attract people that just latch onto you, and now, since you again introduced yourself to XI, you're feeling free and you're pushing people off. So and you get it, because you're again very intuitive. You get to see, but you just didn't have the tools to go, shit, this is what I need to feel free. You can still help people, but in a different way. But I'm just saying this because right now you're pushing people away, which is really good for a lot of you as well. Because when you do that, one, you get to stand up on your own, and you get to see what you've got, the inventory of tools and so on. And then also, it pushes them to say, stand up for themselves as well. Okay. So really nice job. So what I was doing for you is creating that separation, so you can stand on your own without people, distorting you. Really nice, really fast. You do really well with XI, and you'll just like take it and run it. This is where people go, well, I did XI, and a lot of shit came up for me, and it was really hard for me to go through. It's because you don't let shit go. All that garbage that you think is you is not you. Allie here, she doesn't think any of that stuff's her. It's all, it's like, and I'm sure it is. What's her is, again, allowing people to, say, entertain her, so to speak. So this is a good one that I can't get back to. Yeah. Let's see. This one is Moss. Could you work on me and help me on success and abundance? Thank you. Yes. So, so you just have to be a little more complete. Again, a lot of changes for you. You're still you're at a level where you're taking inventory on what you want in life or not. So success is, or say money, because right now as money changes, before money is a control mechanism. Basically, people get success and they go, well, I'm going to become successful to control. But in reality, what happens is that they become successful and money controls them. So you don't want to be controlled by anybody anymore, right? You're free. You're more independent. Let's just create more independence for you. So the way XI sees money is that money is a rendition or a reflection of how independent that you are. Okay, most society runs that money. They're weak on the inside, so they need money to show society that they have power, right? So they're empty inside. So, and that's why money controls them. They don't control the money, although it looks that way. But that's why it gets very destructive for individuals, and they need more and more and more control. Look at the government. So for you, and and I also, guys, I'm not just working on one individual, but all of you, especially if you have similar problems. So for you, just taking more hold of yourself where you're stable on your own, and then that's where money. So yes, we'll help you with that. Okay, just give me a second. Let's all take a deep breath in. So really pushing into, say, what abundance is and redefining money for you as well. Because again, for you, money, that redefinition that I talked about, you're still thinking that money is going to provide security for you. It doesn't. So in this case, you're secure. Money is a reflection of how secure you are. Okay, so that's where you want to be. So. Yeah, we'll go. Nilo, hi Moss. I feel an upgrade in XI. Can you work on a grounding me deeper into this space? Sure. Yes. So you're interesting. And then we're gonna jump on, guys, to Moss on Sundays on Instagram. By the way, I'm gonna shut down. I'm gonna turn it off, end this video. Because Instagram only allows for an hour, okay? And then the end usually gets disconnected for you all. So what we're going to do on Instagram, but we'll continue on Facebook and YouTube, is that, and I'm still working on you, Nilo, no worries, or my duplicate is, okay? So I'm going to disconnect, and then I'll start another live session for you, and then you just reconnect, all right? And we'll get into negative emotions or the science of negative emotions. So again, coming back to you, Nilo, you're that individual that you actually are grounded really well. But what you're feeling is that, especially with XI, and it happens to quite a few, is like you feel that euphoria, right? And you just like take off. Right? It's like because you want that so bad, and it's really good. But this is the distortion, say, of like Buddhism. A lot of those level type of individuals. This is what the level that you're getting into, and you did it at a short time, rather than 10, 20, 30 years. Those monks, they do it. Right? Again, that's what XI is about. So getting you into those levels and even higher. So what's happening is that Buddhism and most of those type of meditations, TM and so on, transcendental, what they do is they separate your identity. So you have that propensity anyway. So with XI, basically you've disconnected and gone higher and higher, but you've left your body. And that's why you want to feel grounded. So pushing you back into your body, because you take your identity, your physical identity, your body with. So when people do it the other way, like Buddhism and all the other modalities like that, what do? You separate. You separate, and you think that there's a higher source outside of you somewhere, right? There's not. There is, but you can't say understand it or experience it. You can only go say so high to the level of say materiality or physical time and space. To go beyond, and again, Xi allows you to do that. And that's why I say Buddhism and so on. And I'm just picking on Buddhism because most people understand it. That you go this high, and it's euphoric, right? Just like kneeling here, it's euphoric. But you start to not like the world. You start to disconnect from the world. You start to. So what good is that, right? The joy is here, or experiencing the joy is here. So you get dualities. That's why you're here. Your consciousness is here. Your physical platform is here. Xi basically takes both of those past that, right? You're here now together, and you see the grandness, the beauty of this world, and then you can transcend. And this is where you transcend, good, bad, light, dark, and you see it from a whole. And this is where you become that I am state. Again, I'm not egotistical, but the Xi, I've labeled it Xi. I didn't create it. That's the only way, like Jesus said, it's the only path to ascend to that higher level. Okay, you have to take your identity with. Again, it's only one path. Is awakening, but that's where you're coming in, Nilo, into that I am state. So congratulations. I would journal what you experience. Again, a lot of great insights on that. It'll lock you into your space, and then also all that blessings and that euphoria that you feel will say come through you because you're thinking about it, and it locks you in even more. And then you ascend with your body, which is even cooler. So, right, huh? Really nice job. Really impressive for the time you've been with me. All right, guys, what we're going to do, I'll read more people here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect Instagram. Guys, I'm going to end this session, and I'll just start another one right away, and then we'll get on negative emotions, all right? So just bear with me here. Let's see here. So while they're coming back, let's see. Wow, there's so many people typing in. It's just this one. Oh, Neil, it's you again. Let's see. Scammy, please. You're right. My mother had the cancer removed for business. Oh, okay. So I guess, wow, just random. So there you go, guys. So, me for business. So I was talking about your business because, as your business, say, expands, you'll get more and more, say, messages, not messages, but people talking to you. So giving you a single focus, and then giving you a single focus for you. Okay. So this one is, hi Moss, please help my father with hip pain while waiting for surgery. Sure. Again, not a doctor in any way. But yeah. So many people through XI use surgeries and things of that nature to say disconnect from their old patterns. So I think that's what you're doing. Whoever wrote this, I can't really read your name, but it's on the screen for you. So you're actually excited because you know that so this is how it happens, and then we'll get into shit. It's kind of running late, but can't leave you hanging. So this is what happens. If many people get excited, you start to awaken your family. So your father's awakened because of the work that you've done. And now he goes into surgery. Basically, it allows you to disconnect from, say, all the patterns, father, mother, whoever, that are, say, negative for you. So that's what it's all about. And that's why you're actually asking, because it'll help your father, of course, but it'll help you as well. So really good job. All right, guys. So I'm just playing around with this. It's really cool. So the science of negative emotions, right? So what it's all about. And again, if you're new, welcome. My name is Sajady. And some of you might go, God, he's really intense, because I am. It's not that, I'm mean or anything like that. It's just that, well, if you look at any say nature type, a baby, a lion, a penguin, they have that intensity. Obviously, you can see it more in a lion or a tiger sort of stuff. Although very loving and everything, right? But they're very intense. The reason why that intensity, many of you are feeling the frequencies already, right? The intensity is because I'm so present in time. That's why. And many of you I'm talking about this because many of you are getting that way as well, just maybe at a different level. So, which is really good. Again, as you become more and more present in time, you become more and more intense. You're more and more well-defined, right? You're not like flowing all over the place. And as you become well-defined, say, as you walk through a crowd, well, you don't get distorted by other people. Right, you stay, say, definite while you walk through, say, a crowd, and that's where you change their identities to help them ascend higher. That's what real help is about, by the way. But let's move on to negative emotions. So this is the science of negative emotions. We're going to talk about three things today on the science of negative emotions. Is one, how society, conventional use of negative emotions, what it's all about. Two, the science of negative emotions, what it really is about. And then three, and I can't cover everything, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a lecture series on this subject. So this is because it's only 15 minutes and then we go into a deep meditation. So in the lecture series, again, it's a longer version of this where we go deeper into the logistics for those who are really wanting to be, highly successful in a spherical way. Okay. So that's coming up. So watch out for that. And then, so one, how conventional society where people use negative emotions. Two, what negative emotions are really about. And then three, helping you, say, start the mechanics on utilizing negative emotions. And this is experiential knowledge, by the way. This is what's different on the way I teach or share with you. And I'm not really teaching you. I'm helping you remember who you are, because it's all in you. And that's why I say what I say, although it might not make sense here, it's like it resonates with you because that frequency is already in with you. So that's why I call it experiential teaching, because it doesn't sit up here. It creates you here, right? You become the knowledge. It just doesn't get stored. And I'm just scanning you. Many of you are frustrated with a lot of, say, other modalities and teachings. And I think there's a lot of new people online and going, and you're frustrated. So I'm sensing that because it's like, I went through this, I went through that, and it's just, I know that stuff, but why can't I utilize it, right? Well, that's the reason why. So I'm just scanning you to help you release that. So all that knowledge that you've learned from those other people, you get to utilize it. And again, back to negative emotions. Sorry, guys, I'm here to help you become your best possible self. So sometimes it just takes me a little while to, say, create a frequency, an umbrella frequency, and then also subgroups. That's why I talk about it. So it benefits you, because a person with, say, experience A is very different with experience C. So I have to, say, adapt at a different frequency so you can understand what I'm saying, right? That experiential. So let's all take a deep breath in. And we'll just start the meditations or meta-healings right now. Meta-healing is that I guide you into deep states. And then and then you self, you awaken, or you self heal yourself, or rewire yourself. And then what I do on the back end is, well, help you rewire right at your source code, or you might call it your spirit. Strong deep breath in again. We'll just go into a meditative state, and I'll talk about those three subjects. Connecting to the mastermind group. If you happen to not listen to what I say, okay, because you get zoned out, it's okay. You can always re-listen, but just stay in that space, right? If you're a note taker, just stay in that space. You can take notes later if you like. It's being recorded for you, so. And then breath in again, asking yourselves, how do I connect to my best possible self, my limitless self, my pure source possible? All right. So as you stay in this space, as you notice your shoulders and chest, your upper half, your upper torso, okay, because that's where a lot of negative emotions are felt for you guys. Okay, so there's that group, and then also the people in the groin area. Okay, negative emotions. Say that you've been abused and so on like that. Or it doesn't matter, physically, sexually, whatever it might be, whatever type of abuse, right? You get into, say, a negative situation or a negative emotion, it's like shifts you. You'll feel a drain, say, in your groin area, right? If it's your identity, you say relate to your identity. Your self-image is identity-based, right? You have to present yourself in a certain way. Negative emotions or negative situations will affect you from your torso on up. That makes sense to you. So again, adjusting for that as well. So most of society, and I don't care who it is, there's lots of books on, handling your emotions. Psychology tells you that if it is a negative emotion, you go into your happy space. You go into your happy space. Basically what it's about overall, just to keep it brief, is that a negative emotion, you're running away from it. Simple as that. Right? No matter where you go, even Tony Robbins is really fantastic, but they basically destroy negative emotions. If there's a negative emotion, you're supposed to be a gladiator and like push through and break it apart, or disconnect from it. It's like those negative emotions is your enemy, right? And I'm just singling out Tony because, well, I've gone to some of his seminars and teachings and so on like that, so that's why. Whoever you go to, I'm not going to name names, but anyway, most of those, again, is that even using NLP, you rewrite, if there's a negative emotion, well, you rewrite it with a happy thought or a happy emotion, right? And again, does that work? Well, I'm asking you, does that work? Do you get still stuck? So again, so what do really, really successful people do, including Tony, by the way, is that, and again, they don't realize the underlying, say, science behind it, because they don't go into those levels where you can see it from a very different level and use it logically. But if you start to really analyze successful individuals, let me just go back. I'm skipping forward. So other conventional thoughts is that, again, you stay away from negative emotions. Negative emotions are bad. Negative emotions are evil. The devil uses negative emotions to control you. Society uses negative emotions to control you. Look at media, right? Any type of advertising, hurry up before, inventory runs out, right? It puts you into that, say, anguish state, anxiety state, right? It's like, I better get that last fridge or whatever that you want to buy. People scare you. Well, look at this COVID thing, right? If you don't wear a mask, you're going to get diseased. If you don't wear a mask, you're not part of the group. If you don't wear a mask, you're not. You're disrespectful, right? So those are all, say, negative emotions or control mechanisms. So negative emotions, if you look at, say, any media or anything that tries to control you, whether it's this reality, right? Media, your loved ones, look at your parents, right? Negative emotions, scaring the hell out of you not to do something, right? Sex is bad. You're going to destroy yourself. It's a sin, right? Religion destroys, or uses negative emotions. So again, in this society, negative emotions are supposed to control you, or they're designed to control you, and then you're supposed to stay away from them. But those people who know how to use negative emotions use them, right? Look at the church, and again, not the church, synagogue, the mosque, and all that. They use negative emotions to control you, but then again, you're supposed to stay away from negative emotions and go for God. So how does that work? Parents, again, you shouldn't be sad, honey, but then they make you fearful, or they make you to that point where you're sad because you can't feel that euphoria in you. Or if you're, suicidal, for example, again, is it negative emotions? Suicide, and I see a lot of suicide. Guys, this isn't a lecture on suicide. So I can help you, but if you should get help, but I can help you disconnect, and I'll work on you. Those who are, I see I think a lot of new people online. So suicidal type frequencies or depression, guys. Yes, that's part of negative emotions. We'll talk briefly about that, but creating a special group for you, and I'll just work on you without really talking about it. Okay. So again, emotions, negative emotions. So good emotions, bad emotions, you run away, okay, from it. Look at all the books that you see, right? Psychology. Look at why most people are on, say, some type of psychedelics, whether they're prescription based, right, to make you feel more numb or stable as those negative emotions come forward, right? I'm really anxious, or I'm really angry, or I'm really depressed. Again, all negative emotions. And what do? You take something. It doesn't really say. It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't remove the problem. It's just like, let's just squelch it. Let's just make you numb, so those emotions aren't as in your face or controlling you. But those things don't work out either, as you found out, right? So what is that? So why are negative emotions here? Okay, I've talked enough about how negative emotions control you. So what are emotions really about? Okay? Emotions aren't really about to tell you that you're a good person or you're a bad person. That's number one. Again, so I'll say that again. Negative emotions are not there to tell you that you're doing good or you're doing bad. This is what we've been taught, though. So let's help you remove that as well. Because that's what it's used for, right? If you feel love, you're going the right direction. And how many times does that work, right? For you. And if you feel like negative emotions, obviously you're going the wrong way, and you should do something, to replace it. So that's the number one problem. Two, negative emotions are looked as evil, like I said, but in reality, negative emotions are, say, the best tool that you could ever use. Okay? And I'll just give you a really simple example that you've heard before. Negative emotions are, say, like fear, for example. Okay, right? Fear is a negative emotion. Again, it's one of the most fantastic emotions ever. There's 7. If you listen to Earl Nightingale, the 7 deadly horsemen, right? Those patterns, right? Those negative emotions, jealousy, envy, fear, 7 that you stay away from or that they destroy you. Those are all fantastic tools that successful individuals use to go into the right direction. So in the example that I was giving you, say that you didn't have your pain sensors and you put your hand on a hot stove, sure you, like I said, you've heard this example before, but it works well. What do you automatically do without even thinking? Because there's a different brain mechanism that controls that. By the way, it bypasses your brain, so the nerves don't go. What I'm saying about that is that it doesn't. So the pain goes up your arm into your brain, and then your brain goes release. It's too. Your reactions are way faster than that speed going back and forth. Okay, so what is that? You're pre-built, again, another brain mechanism that like releases, right? Before you can even think about it. So again, it bypasses the brain. It's the intelligence, a higher consciousness, if you will, that you have. If you want to call it your spirit, that's fine too. That already sees it before you're already into it. If you have ever noticed that. And I talk about these things because it's very direct. It's correlated with negative emotions. Have you ever noticed that, you go into something and then something deep says you shouldn't go there, and then for a lot of you who practice XI, you can't go there. It stops you. Okay. Again, it's beyond, say, the cognitive thought. Right, and it protects you, and you go. It's like, holy shit, good thing that somebody loves me up there. But again, it's just your higher consciousness, and I'm sure somebody does love you up there. By the way, okay, I'm not saying they don't, but it is your higher consciousness. So why do I say that, and what does that have to do with negative emotions? You're pre-built. Those negative emotions are tools for you. Okay. But in today's society, in culture, not just today's, but throughout history, we're thinking that that's bad. So basically, when you're taking, say, alcohol, psychedelics, including ayahuasca and all that stuff, prescription drugs and so on like that to numb you, basically you're numbing your senses. So basically, what you're telling yourself is like, hey, this issue that I have, the hot stove, means that I can just put my hand on there and I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel good. And then, well, what happens? Well, if you keep putting your hand there, you're going to destroy, your hand, right? Logic. But so when you get numbed down like that, you can stay in those situations longer for you. Simple as that. Until you get there, until you destroy yourself, right? Because that hand just burns out. I mean, it just does. So you're doing that to your whole body. It's like, so those negative emotions are saying, hey, danger, do something about it. But what do? You just keep going back to the same old shit. It's like, I'm just going to keep burning myself, and I'm going to numb my system down so I can take the abuse. Simple as that. It doesn't work really logically for you. Okay. So those things are for you to see what's going on. And the problem is that, you see a negative emotion. One, if you're a little kid, you see how your parents handled and society handled and TV handles negative emotions, right? And you go, that's what happens, or that's what I should do to negative emotions. So that really sucks. So it's because it's not right. You're not being trained in right. So that's one thing. And then two, also is that over time, as you say, destroy that propensity for those negative emotions to save you, you destroy the propensity of connecting to your higher self. And that's why I was saying that higher self that protects you right automatically. Well, that just goes, well, what the fuck? They're not listening to me. I'll just create more of what they like then. That's the problem. You start creating more of what you like because you're not like seeing all the bells and whistles that's screaming at you. And then two, it's like, I know where I'm going, because this is like what you focus on. This reality is what you focus on is what you get, and not at a conscious level, at a deeper level that dictates what you do. Okay. And this is why, by the way, so your higher self goes, well, and this is where free will comes in. It's like they're going towards that direction. They're going into that fire. And they're not acknowledging the signs. And then I guess they want more of that. So I guess we'll create more of that because that's what the reality that they want to experience. So that's what you're teaching your little kids, by the way, or that's what you've been taught as a young child. So think of that. Pretty messed up, right? And then also, Negative emotions are, or any emotion, by the way. Okay, and then we'll get into the science of. We'll get into how to use all emotions properly. So the way XI sees emotions is that emotions aren't there for you to feel for good and bad. Emotions are there to help you sense where you are here physically. Okay? It's attached to your five senses. Okay, so your five senses, and then your sense of spatial references, as I call it, your sixth sense, let's say. Your five senses are there to tell you where you are. So your eyesight, your touch, smell, taste, hearing, right? You might go, well, those are for us to experience the pleasures of the world. That's a side benefit. Basically, it allows you to understand, just like spatial references. If you're new to me, this might not make sense to you, so I'll explain it briefly. But it allows you to understand where you are in reference, say, to the chair. Kind of like a GPS. Think of it as a GPS signal, right? A GPS signal tells you they have three satellites that bounce off, say, your phone. And maybe in the future, if you take a vaccine or something, it might be in your system. But anyway, they have three satellites that track your phone. Okay, and then this is how Google Maps work, right? And then it locates by the three signals, and it tells you precisely where your phone is, and then it tells you where to go. Does that make sense to you? So again, it's a locating device. Your five senses are a locating device. It tells you which reality that you're in. Okay, so it's all about space and time. It tells you how accurate you are in which reality that you're in, and then in which time frame that you're in. Simple as that. And I'm not going to get into the details of it because there's a lot of science behind it, and we just don't have time. That's why this is going to be, a lecture series telling you all this. So you have five, maybe six, instead of three satellites. You have six satellites all around you, basically telling you exactly, one, where you are, and then how to render the reality that you're in. Okay, so all I'm going to say. This is where say a negative emotion. Okay? This is where your senses, they're pulling you, or the way you're creating it or rendering this reality. Say that yours, and I wish I had something to write on, but I'm at a hotel, guys. So. And again, lecture series for you. This is where you're supposed to be here. Okay, you're supposed to be here, but for somehow you get drawn into, say, you walk into a room, right? Many of you are like this, so that's a good example. Yeah, you walk into a room, they're really sad, right? They're really sad. You're happy. You walk into the room, and it's like, whoa, what happened? Why do I feel so sad all the time? It's not your issues, right? It's not your issues. So what do? Their reality is here. The room reality is here, let's say. You walk into a room. You just got sucked into their reality. You're rendering according to the group, right? So your five senses are just telling you, if you were awakened or realize, and many of you are XIers, you literally get to see or experience, like, holy shit, how did I get pulled into that reality? And then as you do, your emotions, say, adopt to that. That's why you feel sad, for example. That makes sense to you. It's telling you, it's like, hey, you're not supposed to be in this reality. Jump back to your reality. You can be in the room, but not in the reality to create this room that way. Okay? That's what negative emotions are telling you. They're signals, joy, and let's just break away from negative emotions, positive emotions, because that's all bullshit as well. Okay? They're emotions. They're tools to tell you which way you're going. If they're negative emotions, right, they're telling you, go away, move, remove yourself, not of the room, but remove yourself of you being sucked into, say, that gravitational force of the group, of the room, right? Create yourself here, and then bring yourself into that room where you don't get affected. I don't get affected by people's bullshit around me. Does that make sense to you? That's my senses are calibrated with my emotions. Okay, so you have your senses, you have your emotions. Again, your senses. satellites, right, that tell you exactly where you render yourself in time and space, and it's a crossroad of realities, again, space and time. Right, you want to be in, say, the intersection of that present moment, time, as you might call it. Um, your emotions tell you how far off you are. So the further you are away, say, from where you're supposed to be here, this is present moment time, the heavier your emotions get. So what do most people do, like I said, right? And this is where suicide comes in. So I'll just talk briefly. Here we go. So we're back. So hopefully we're back. So you're not, it just takes you, as you say, disconnect deeper and deeper. Well, you have to disconnect physically because there's not enough energy supporting you here, and then you perish. You have to perish, by the way. It's got nothing to do with, say, negative emotions, the state of reality, because the most successful people, because we define happiness, again, that's another bullshit example, or paradigm as well. The wealthier you are, the happier you are. Money doesn't buy happiness, and many people go, well, sure it does. No, it doesn't. The happiness is inside you. Money just accentuates who you are, the happiness that you are. Okay, money does buy happiness. Money just basically helps you choose the distortions that you have. Okay, where poor people, they can't choose the distortions that they have. Okay, or how they go through the distortions that they have. So back to the emotions. So that's why. So that's why many of you, as you take those pills and so on like that, or learn other techniques, to destroy the beneficial tool that has been given you to tell you where you are, go further and further away. And that's why things get messed up, because now the satellites, right? The 5-6 satellites that telling you where you are, you're not listening to it. So you're recalibrating it somewhere else. And that's where it's just like you're recalibrating Google Maps and going, hey, I'm actually here, but I want to be represented here. And Google Maps are going, what the fuck? How are you going to get to where you want to go if you can't really know where you are, right? So again, negative emotions are not supposed to tell you that you're good or bad. Negative emotions are telling you that, hey, you're on the right path or you're in the present moment. Okay, and again, they're tools. So, and then overall, what happens there is that there's the disconnect between your 5 senses and the emotions. So your emotions are a rendering of, say, your 5 senses. It tells you, so they have to be calibrated properly. Okay. The other aspect of negative emotions is like, well, why can't I just feel good? Because if there's a program that runs in you that dictates that, say, you get, you're always supposed to be in pain, you're always supposed to be running away. There are programs that, have you seen those people that are just joyful? Right? No matter what happens to them, they're just joyful. So if you look at that situation and maybe your situation, is it the situation that's happening? Is it the situation? And so why do so many people, including society, including, self-improvement gurus and so on, go, well, it's the situation that you're in. It's the state that you're in. It's not. It's not. It's this where you're rendering it. So it bypasses the state you're in. You have to render yourself in a certain, say, situation, again, the crossroads of time and space. When you're in the crossroads or present, basically, no matter what situation that you're going through, you're in a pleasant state. If that makes sense to you. So the closer you are to the crossroads of the intersection of time and space, you're naturally happy. You just naturally have a propensity to be happy. So if you've ever wondered right? Those people that you hate, it's like, God, no matter what they go through, they're always happy. What the hell? And then good things happen to them all the time. It's the same reason why, because if you're in the present moment, good things naturally happen to you. You're at a higher level of consciousness. Dark things or negative things, they don't exist at that level. But again, the further you disconnect from present moment state, right? At a deeper level, not like conscious level, not mindfulness. That's not present moment. That's, you're just trying to be mindful of what you're thinking. Basically, that's what happens. But again, where you render yourself in time and space, your emotions calibrate properly. So negative emotions, to go deeper, and again, we don't have a lot of time, and I'm working on for you to utilize negative emotions, okay, properly, and you'll see it as a tool. So if you've looked at anything that, or anyone that controls you, do they ever use love, right? And if they do, it's always about losing love, by the way. If you look at, say, advertising, if you look at your parents, if you look at somebody that's controlling you, if you look at dark sources, anything like that, it's always like, well, if you don't do X, something's going to happen to you. If you're fearful and so on like that, right? It puts you in a state of fear. Again, it's that logic. You stay away from negative emotions, so they impound negative emotions on you. XI uses all the emotions to tell you, or successful individuals use all the emotions to tell you where they are. So the successful people, and again, I can't get into it too deep, but successful people, one, they calibrate their emotions according to the goals that they need to reach. Okay? So what they're doing is they're calibrating their satellites, right? Their senses and their emotions to get them to where they want to go. Most people, their emotions are not calibrated to their senses, so it takes them down a rocky road. So again, successful individuals, right? If they're supposed to be in a certain state, and this is where, say, Tony's material works really well. At the surface levels, if so the underlying, say, is calibrated properly, and then at a conscious level, it's like, okay, I'm supposed to be in this emotional state to get the best out of this meeting or situation. And then, NLP, psychology, self-improvement methods, they work at this level. Okay, but I'm talking about the deeper level on why it doesn't work for most people, although it works for successful people. This component, the deeper level or the foundation, isn't there for most people. And then also, they don't look at negative emotions as negative. They don't look at it as something to run away from. They actually say, accentuate the negative emotions. And this is what happens to many people who use XI, right? You go into that space, and I'll give you an example for clarity as I continue to work on you, as you take a deep breath in and notice your chest. Or for those who have been controlled, again, the groin area, whichever camp that you're in, identity-based or victim-based, basically, or abuse-based. So when you're going through XI, Xponential Intelligence, when you're going through the process, many of you will experience that some of the negative emotions. Say that you were controlled with anger, right? Your parents got angry, and then you conformed, because that's what negative emotions are used by those people who control. You conform to their pleasures or what they want out of you. Again, you conform to what they do, right? So again, anger was a fantastic tool. Many of you, anger, regret, let's see, sorrow obviously is one. Guilt feeling is a negative emotion, right? If you don't do X, you're gonna do, something happens to you, right? You feel guilty, so what do? You get control to that. So as you go through XI and as you recalibrate, again, the underlying emotion, not the underlying senses to your emotions, right? What'll happen for you? So in a specific example, anger was a way to control you in the past. So what'll happen? You go through XI, okay, and you start cleaning all that shit out. you're going to get really angry. Okay. And again, society tells us to stay away from negative emotions, right? It's like, but no, the reason why you get really angry is because you're using anger or any other negative emotion that's controlled you, guilt, fear, whatever it is, to control you the direction that you want to go. Okay. Most people use those negative emotions to like bury them deeper, right? And get controlled by whatever object this object is telling you, right? This object is telling you or controlling you or angering you, for example, right? You look at it, you get controlled by it, you get sucked into it. That's how they control you. XI or successful individuals, what do? They see that negative emotion, the power that negative emotion has, what they use it because they're calibrated, right? They see it, they use the power of that negative emotion and say, explode, directional explosion. They go the opposite way of the situation. That's what it's supposed to be like, much like the hand on the hot stove, right? If you put your hand on the hot stove, what do? Most people do. What do? They push deeper using their negative emotions and they burn even more. What XI tells us is like, hey, that power that is so forceful, right? You put your hand on something's hot stove and you push it away, you pull it away so strongly. So that power that's generated, and it's a real power, that power that's generated, guys, you're using it into the direction that you want to go. So when that happens for you, those XI people, right, that it's like you're feeling all this anger or all this judgment or all this sorrow or guilt. There's a lot of guilt that runs in this group, by the way. So you're feeling that guilt. It's like, shit, if I become my best possible self, I'm going to have to leave X, Y, and Z, whoever they might be, or whatever, concept or belief system that you are. Those are all those things that are showing you, right? Again, they're showing you what's been holding you back. They're showing you that, hey, you're using this tool, this fantastic tool, called negative emotions, to say you're using it to cut your hand off. Let's use it to create and build something fantastic. So when those things show up, they're not there to destroy you again. Not at all. They're actually there to help you go, oh, that's what it's about. I'm going the wrong way. And then, you pull out and go the other way. This is what successful individuals do. Okay. Very rarely do emotions, positive emotions, get you anywhere. People go, well, what about love? If you think about it, most people in society, okay, yes, love is a powerful emotion, but at the consciousness level that society exists in, they're using love because out of fear. So fear is the underlying, say, factor or emotion that's controlling. So just like any, anybody, knows your weaknesses, say like your kids, right? They know your weaknesses and they prey upon that, right? So control sources outside of your kids, by the way, use that. So fear is used, as love. So love becomes a puppet, basically, right? What controls that love is fear. And again, for you all, guilt, right? Guilt is, say, so love is the packaging, the pretty packaging that most people see. So again, when you calibrate yourself properly, this is where there is no positive emotions or negative emotions. Okay. Basically, what you're doing now is love is recalibrated. Again, many of you are experiencing, in the XI world, right? The XIers, what do? You're actually seeing the love that you have for yourself, right? And you're going towards it, not because you're fearful, right? And let me just explain this because it's really important for all of you from what I'm seeing. You're in a love state. So what I'm explaining to you is that you're in a love state, but if you don't have this love, what do? You loss of self, loss of identity. You don't know where to go, right? So what do? It's fear. You're running away from that fear towards, say, love. That's the problem. You're running away from. It'll never, say, satisfy you. So in the XI reality, right? You're here again, you have guilt, sadness, whatever it is. you see that, it's like, fuck, I'm getting way the hell out of here. Again, anger and all that stuff will come out for you to, again, directionally explode into that direction of love, where you want to go, right? Love is here. That's where you want to go. So love, you're reaching. So now you have a propulsion mechanism, again, negative emotions pushing you away from what you don't want in your life, because you're calibrated basically, and it's a reality. It's not to say this the thing that you're worried about, although that could be in that reality, right? So again, wealth, for example, and I'll explain that in another way. So just give me a second, just to finish this example. So when you're calibrated properly in negative emotion, those negative emotions, are booster rockets. They get you out of where you are. If you look at many successful individuals, the one key element that rose them beyond any physical, say, limitation that they had was so much anger, fear, whatever controlled them in the past. And I'll give you an example. The biggest construction company, the guy who has, back in the day, had the biggest construction company. He went to get a loan. Okay, from this gentleman, had a lot of money. The guy's wife walks in, and she just looks at the guy, and it's like, God, he's so gross. Out loud, it's like, you're not going to lend that guy money. He's no good. He can't do it. He's never going to pay you back, right? Just at his face, right? He went home. He didn't get the loan, obviously. He went home, because most men, anyway, let's not get into that. He went home, and he was so angry. Again, anger is probably used to control him. He was so angry. He goes, I'm going to show that bitch. That's what he probably said. I'm going to show that. And from that experience, he made the biggest construction company. If you look at all from rags to riches, all negative emotions that most people drown in, right? They used it as a power tool, as rocket boosters to go, fuck, this can't happen to me anymore. Again, many of you go through the XI process. You're using that success mechanism of negative emotions, right? You're looking at the anger. You're getting angry, not to be victimized by it, but you're looking at it. And it's like, holy hell, I've seen what I've gone through, and this can't happen to me, nor my kids, or society as a whole in the future. It just can't happen to me. So you get, again, jet propulsion out, and then you look at the grander, right? Love, for example, joy, all that. It's not a facade. It's not a facade. It's real. So it's tangible. It's more tangible than, say, escaping yourself for love, right? Most people escape themselves to feel love. They escape themselves for drugs and all that. Anyway, they see the euphoria of love. So now you got rocket boosters pushing you, and then a vacuum in front of you pulling you towards that. That's why, again, many of you XRs are like overwhelmed by these emotions. So just stay focused in on your body, by the way, when you experience that. And then, because your emotions are, say, recalibrating for, your highest self. Let's take a deep breath in, guys. I know we went a little bit over time. And again, there's so much, there's so much knowledge, or especially if you want to, get the science, understand the science to help, especially if you're a therapist or a motivational speaker. You can help, your clients really well using the right mechanisms or the mechanics, or if you want to become super successful. Let's take another deep breath in. And notice your spine, and then there's a column right in front of you. It's an imaginary column. Okay? So notice how that column shows up. Is it light? Is it metallic? Is it golden? Again, make it as real as possible. Sense it in your body, feel it, touch it. Strong deep breath in again. So notice this column that goes right through your center, right through the center of your head, up into the ethers, and then right into the core of the earth, right into the center. Breath in again. So I'm going to help you center yourself in space and time. Okay? Basically walking you into the crossroads of reality and time. Simple as that. So what you will experience is that you'll want to move away from where you need to be. Okay? Again, if fear has controlled you, you're going to feel fear. Stay in. Hold on to that column. Nothing else will support you. Your ideas, your belief systems, your faith, whatever it is, it will not support you because it's not about belief. It's about rendering yourself in real time, present moment time. Again, the crossroad, the intersection of time and space. Okay. So as you say centered, you'll see all the stuff. Again, a recalibration of you pulling away. It's like, hey, I'm supposed to be here. You're not. Stay where you are. Especially if it gets worse. Because that's the breaking point. The worse or the more intense it gets for you, especially people who have anxiety and they just can't stand it, they just start jittery like that, like many of you are already. Again, it's not me. It's just that you're trying to render yourself somewhere else, but you're supposed to be here, right? You're supposed to be here. So take a deep breath in. Just hold on to that column. Especially when it gets extreme. Some of you are actually embracing it. It's like, oh my God, for the first time, I feel really good. I feel really connected. Great job. So those either camp, you are calibrating those negative emotions, right? Your five senses to render. So basically forcing your senses to render where you want to be, where you need to be, just like the Google Maps, just like GPS, right? You're calibrating to tell you where. As we take a deep breath in again, breathing in from that column, from the core of the earth, all the way up through, into your body and out the top. If you've ever had to calibrate your GPS, if you've, waved your phone in a figure 8, that's what this session is about. Recalibrating you so you're accurate. Some of you will feel disoriented, distorted, confused. Some of you, your emotions, you don't know which way to go. Okay. You might not have any emotions, or you might have multiple emotions at the same time. Anger, joy, sadness, joy, love, all that. A death, a rebirth. Wonderful breath in again. There we go. So as long as you stay in this space, again, especially if you're feeling really extreme, your pills, whatever that you do, will not help you. They haven't helped you. Okay? I'm not saying not to take them, but I'm just saying that this is what you need. Again, recalibration. And in a short time, you'll start to, again, recalibrate your senses and your emotions. We went quite a bit over time. Just seems like you guys needed it. Probably a lot of new people online. So really helping those individuals as well. Okay. To know more about me, again, the 18-day metamorphosis program where we shift you in 18 days. The human reset, by the way, guys, is moved into October because we want to get more really transform it, and through September is going to be a lot of chaos and so on in the world, as I'm predicting. And I'll throw up the predictions that have come through so far up on Instagram. So join me on Instagram. Oh, I like this caption too. There we go. So So follow me on Instagram, guys, because I do post quite a bit on Instagram. And then a lot on YouTube again. So follow my channel on YouTube as well. But the 18-day program is really fantastic. If you want, say, private sessions, there's private sessions as well for the intensity. But I would suggest before you do that, you go through a deprogramming program first. So it's a group deprogramming. So it's on the website for you. So when you do have a private session, we don't have to work on, say, the details of what you should let go. Because I can, with my abilities, I can do that at a group level. You don't need to invest in, letting go stuff. We can invest on, say, ascending you higher, right? Getting rid of that stuff is easy for me now, but propelling you the right way, getting you to the right direction, connecting you to, the limitless self, or as Yoda puts it, that force within. So that's what those sessions would be used for. Okay. All right, guys. Again, as we end, notice what you notice. Notice the details of what you notice. And if you like what you saw, tell other people. All right, guys. Peace.